Well, a very pleasant evening to everyone joining us for another presentation of Rapport with the Men's Council. That's the St. Kitts National Men's Council. We are a non-profit organization. We are an organization which seeks to empower men and young boys in society. We are here once again, and we are delighted for the opportunity to share with you. Tonight we have a very interesting discussion. There's been a lot of talk about Christmas and what it is, and what it should represent, and what it represents for many. So we want to unpack certain myths and ideologies about Christmas. We want to delve into this and see how we can share some information and knowledge about Christmas. It has multiple origins, we are told, including pagan celebrations of the winter solstice and the Christian celebration of the birth of Jesus. Pagan celebrations, before Christianity, pagans, we are told, celebrated the winter solstice, the day of the shortest day. That's the shortest day in the northern hemisphere, to honor the return of longer days and more sun. These celebrations may have involved the worship of the solar god, Sol Invictus, Saturn's god Saturnalia, or the Persian solar god Mithras, and the Christian adaptation of Christmas. The Catholic Church, we are told, in Rome began celebrating Christmas on the 25th of December in 336 CE to replace pagan celebrations. The date was chosen to coincide with the pagan festival of the Saturnalia, which took place on the day of the solar equinox. The church also wanted to attract non-Christian followers. When it comes to Christmas, we have a lot of talk about pagan celebrations, Christian adoption, Johnny Old St. Nicholas, the role of the middle class, Santa Claus, and what is it really? So, to help us unpack some of these ideas about Christmas, we have once again the Venerable Agard Mills. He's a member of the National Council, and we are happy to have him once again. And he's going to share with us his thoughts on Christmas, what it is, the origin of Christmas, what it represents, and what it should be, and what it means to many. Agard?
Yeah, blessed greetings. Once again, give thanks to be sharing with all who are listening, looking. We ask the Almighty to guide our tongue and all that is happening in this moment, in these festive time and so on. It's kind of funny how we do say Christmas and we don't say Christmas. And then it not only about Christmas that, some say Xmas and some just say the holidays. So more and more throughout time, as time move forward, I guess maybe the whole idea of the messianic birth will be removed from the whole concept of it, because holidays actually came from the essence of holy days. You have holy days, and after that we get the offshoot holidays. So the celebration of the birth of the Messiah, though it was not a commandment, it is a good energy still, because as the angelic order was giving praises unto such thing. The people who knew what was happening was glad, they were happy, because the time has come now that all the prophecies from the time of Moses come right up, was about the Messiah. So here he come now, he's now born. But did the Bible reveal the information about his birth? Yes, it did. As a matter of fact, it's quite clear in the Bible when the Messiah was born. But because of lack of study and lack of interest into the birth, you find that people don't necessarily go towards it. So there are times when people ask the question, or not even ask, people make the assumption that the Bible do not reveal the time when the Messiah was born. That is really far from the truth.
When you talk about, you're talking about the specific date as to when Christ was born?
Specific with a margin of error in the sense of maybe a week or two. You have a margin of error with about maybe a week or two. But when it's all calculated, the Messiah was born in the month of Tishri, and the month of Tishri is actually between September and October. Now, how do you arrive at the month of Tishri? You have to understand the Hebrew calendar, and you have to understand that we follow a calendar system which is called the Gregorian calendar. So once you put them side by side and then you pull the Bible, you go to the Book of Chronicles, and the Book of Chronicles talk about the order of the temple. And in talking about the order of the temple, it tells you the course that the priest would be officiating. And if when you fast forward to the New Testament, it tells you about John the Baptist's father, who was on the course of Abia. The course of Abia was set up in the Book of Chronicles by King David. And you had the priests and them had to officiate in the temple for the period, the Sabbaths and different things and so on. So if John the Baptist's father was in the course of Abia, you just have to know to find out when was Abia? Well, what time in the Hebrew calendar was Abia? And when you put that next to the Gregorian calendar, you'll see the date of that. And then you go to the story of when John the Baptist was in his mother's, womb and what's not. And the book said that when Mary was with child, John the Baptist was 6 months in. You check what guys was 6 months in. So we have time to work with. We don't have specific dates to say December the 25th and what's not, but you have timing.
But is it really important the day when?
Before we go to important, I'm just trying to show you that the Bible actually gives you the information. So is you now have to calculate, and once you calculate, you will come up that the birth was actually into the month of Tishri, and then once you put that next to the Gregorian calendar, it's actually between September and October. That's why I said there's a margin of error, a couple of weeks, but that's the timing of the birth. Now let's look at what happened when the wise men found him. He didn't just born. He was an infant now. He was a few months old. So if you count from between September, October to January when they met him, because January, the timing that they met him was celebrated and is celebrated by the Roman Catholics as Three Kings Day. It's kind of mystic because, we don't burn out the Catholics sometimes, but they have some of the information that people don't, study and what's not. But the Three Kings Day is when the three kings, we just said the three wise men visited the infant, to visit the Messiah as an infant. And Three Kings is quite fitting because
was three?
We don't know.
Oh,
but I said
wise men came from the east.
The reason they mentioned three is because of the gifts. The gifts that he was given were like in three. So they just assume it's three. I'm not saying it's three. Matter of fact, whether it's 3 or 4 is not. I'm not even focusing on that.
Wise men came from the east to Jerusalem.
So I'm telling you why they call it Three Kings Day. It's called Three Kings Day because in Ethiopia, different provinces and so on have had kings ruling, and the Ethiopian story is saying that is 3 of their kings were actually in the mountainside and what's not traveling through, and they would have had the information to say that the Messiah was born. So they visited him and gifted him. So the December the 25th now, where did that come from? I mean, you read something.
Yeah, it's the Catholic Church,
right?
Began celebrating it.
No, it's not just Catholic. Like, we don't mix up Catholic with Roman Catholic. There's Roman Catholic, there's Russian Catholic, there's Ethiopian Catholic, there's Egyptian Catholic, but they don't go by Catholics so much more now. They go by Orthodox. But they were all Catholic.
But it says the Catholic Church in Rome.
Right, so that's why I said the Roman Catholic. The Roman Catholic. But understand the concept of the Roman influence into all of this. Number one, Rome was occupying Jerusalem at the time of the birth. Right? Rome, if you study the book deep enough, you'll find out that Rome also may well be the a problem child. Let me just leave it at that. A problem child. But anyway, Rome, the concept of Rome is that their concept of their structure of deities, of gods, is written into their history, and some of it is actually in the same Bible when they talk about Diana and all these goddesses and so on that the Romans would have probably had as their gods and different things and so on. So when the message of the Messiah reached Rome by whichever apostle went there, some say Paul and some say others, the people, some accepted the teachings and some didn't really want to accept it. But over time, handling the teachings and so on, you find that the paganism that the Romans were accustomed to find itself into the whole situation of the religion itself. So instead of moving things into the correct order, things will just shift around and we just continue into the Roman paganish kind of way. So the celebration of the sun, the birth of the new sun, like this, as you said, the time that right, that was celebrated around the between the 22nd to the 25th of December. Well, it happened like between them time in there, and they celebrate that on the 25th of December. So if I say sun, and mean the sun that shines light, right?
S-U-N.
You would have to make a distinction to say, well, I mean S-O-N, I mean S-U-N, right? Now there's some religions actually still celebrating the S-U-N as God, right? So because the Romans used to celebrate the sun as God, just like some other nations celebrated the sun, you worship the sun as God, instead of shifting the date of the birth of the Messiah, they just celebrated, they just bring it in and say, well, okay, it's just one celebration. So we're celebrating now the birth of the Messiah on December the 25th. Well, there's a little bit more details around that, but I'm just giving you a short version of how all of this happened. Now, Rome being basically the mother or the leader of the church world, because her children are the Protestants, you know, and all of them came out with the same celebration, the same concepts and different things and so on. Now, but that's just from that angle. You still have people who don't believe into the December the 25th. Now, the same Roman Catholics who celebrate the Three Kings Day, January the 6th, and then you have like the other Orthodox churches around the world who celebrate the Messiah, the 7th of January. The Romans celebrate January the 6th. So you find it's kind of mystic because you're saying he born the 25th of December, but you're celebrating him January the 6th. And the other churches, them who don't study these things, just go along with December the 25th, because December the 25th was what they settled on to say, well, okay, it's the birth of the sun, S-U-N, it's the birth of the new sun, S-U-N, but we're going to worship the birth of the S-O-N on the same day. So that way, you're kind of celebrating the two. You're celebrating the birth of the S-U-N still, and then you also celebrated the birth of the S-O-N at the very same time.
But does the Bible command us to, or does it give a directive that we should celebrate the birth of the S-O-N?
No, there is no commandment to celebrate the birth of the S-O-N. But what happened is that because the Messiah is the most important character in the whole biblical teachings. And because the angels and them, they say, was basically singing and being joyous at the birth of the Messiah. And because, so if the character, the most important character birth, is celebrated by the angels and celebrated by the Asians and so on, then obviously, if you are a follower, we're talking about people who just into a festive season and then don't do nothing else about the Messiah, but people who truly believe in the Messiah, people who want to emulate the life of the Messiah, obviously would celebrate the birth of the Messiah. It's just like if you have children or people close to you, when they have birthdays, you buy them a gift sometime, maybe you call them up and you wish them about the greeting and what's not and so on. So if the Messiah is the one who brings salvation to the world, then you of course would want to celebrate his birth as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have no problem with celebrating the birth of the Messiah. And I really don't have too much.
Mm.
I have some problem with December the 25th, but not too much.
Mm.
Because really and truly, to me, the day to celebrate the birth of the Messiah.
Mm.
Though I don't take it as a big deal because sometimes people not able to calculate the correct timing. So even though I'm giving some information about how you could calculate it and know the timing of the birth was actually in the month of Tishri, which is a Hebrew month.
Well, let me hasten to ask you this. As you unraveled some things about Christmas and origins and so on, and the historical background and about it, which is very interesting because I myself was unaware of some of the facts there. But look at what it has come to know with people just thinking about Christmas as focusing on giving gifts and focusing on toys, Santa Claus, and different emblems, ornaments and Christmas lights and decorations and a shopping spree. Some go on a shopping spree and all of that. Does that have anything to do with what you're saying in relation to what Christmas is and how it came about?
Well, we were just talking about like why maybe it is on December the 25th, but for how it is now, we have to understand that, as I said sometime in some sayings, I don't keep sayings, but there's a saying saying that if you start bad, you're gonna end bad, right?
Right.
That might just well be a true saying. So it start bad. The whole celebration of it start bad. So now the business enterprise got involved. Now once business get involved, is whatever can be sold will be sold. So whether it is the flashy lights, the fluffy little things that people hang up,
the Santa Claus hat that
the
you're
Santa
wearing.
Claus, which is this is not a Santa Claus. The
Just kidding.
the whole idea of anything that can be turned into goods for sale, the business got involved. The tree, which the Bible itself condemned and said that the children of the Most High should not do these things. So
The Christmas tree?
right, that's Jeremiah either 10 or something like that. It actually talk about the people going into the forest, cutting a tree, and they deck it with silver and gold and so on, calling it like they worship it as an idol, but you have no life in it, like it doesn't move, doesn't do anything. So the Almighty told Jeremiah to tell the people don't do these things. So here the people know, well, he didn't say Christmas, but yet there's just, okay, why Jeremiah would have to say Christmas? I mean, if Jeremiah is told by the Almighty, tell these people do not practice the ways of the heathens, for they go into the forest, they cut a tree, they put it to stand up, they deck it with silver and gold. So which other time, which other tree, which other timing you see people doing this? It's ain't happening nowhere else. So people say these things because they don't want to stop. You like crackhead, you're kind of addicted to just doing these things and don't want to stop because you like it. I think when people drink alcohol, and get drunk. They probably like what they do. I mean, it might be painful for them when they got the hangover and what's not. But a lot of times when you see people doing things, it's because they like to do it. But if you take the word that is written in the book is part of the whole narrative. Is telling you that the way into eternal life is not an easy way. It is a narrow road.
So the commercialization of Christmas, the shopping and gift giving and all of that, you have a problem with all of that, with that aspect of it. It should just be a time where people focus on the Messiah or the birth of the coming of the Christ into the world and be reverent and solemn about that at this time of year, or do you see all the other activities? You condemn all the other activities?
Well, let's put it this way. The Messiah himself said, "Give Caesar what is his, and give the Almighty what is his." There was a time in the Old Testament when Jacob had to tell the children of Israel, "Put away your gods and come worship the Most High." Now, what were the gods? The gods were the things that like the hand chain, the chain on the foot, the ring, the nose ring, all kind of, because the whole idea of adoring things is as if you worship them. Because worship, if you look up the definition for worship, it talks about adoration. You know how when people adore certain things and what's not. So you find the same thing with the tree. The fact that you're going to dress it up and do all kind of things, and mind you, it have nothing to do with Christ. Absolutely nothing. A matter of fact, when Christ gave the apostles the instruction to go into all the world, he said, "Go into all the world and teach these things that you observe that I did." Right? Did they have a Christmas tree? Did they have any tree at all that they were decking with silver and gold? No. So where did this come from? Obviously, it came off of the same concept of not believing in the Messiah, but people just adopting the paganism that was sneaking in under the guise of, let's do it because of Jesus Christ. But you know, it's kind of mystic, because when you look at all of the pagan concepts that happen throughout this season, you'll realize that it's everything. The name sound weird. Like, for instance, the name of the Son of the Most High is Yeshua. But we say Jesus. Now, if your teacher, Jesus, would probably pronounce Jesus instead of Jesus, but we say Jesus. We got Christ as Christ and mass to it. And instead,
I don't know, because is it a long E or short E? Remember the letter E in the alphabet? It's different.
But if you say Gene, Jean, do you say, well, you say Gene, right?
Gene, we say Gene, but remember to every rule there.
Right, so the rule with Gene is that you have two vowels. You have J-E-A. With the Jesus, you have J-E-S. So it's a different sound. So you cannot say Jesus. Well, let me take that back. You shouldn't say Jesus. You should say Jesus according to the rules of English. But that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
The whole idea is that the name itself that was changed, which was weird, because the rules, one of the rules that they have when it comes to translating information is that names of characters should never change. And now, but that rule did not apply to the Bible. So the man changed up the name of the Messiah the most. When you check all the other names, almost all the other names in the book is close to the original, except the Messiah name.
Right.
So the idea of Jesus, and Christ mass turned to Christmas. You understand?
Yeah.
So the names themselves, even calling them so weird, because it does not give to the character or the nature of the Messiah. So instead of saying Christ Mass, which is what it's spelled, right, it's a mass to celebrate Christ.
Right.
But we don't say Christ Mass because it sounds too Christian, I guess. So they say Christmas.
Right.
Chris,
but let me read this here quickly. The role of Saint Nicholas and the role of the middle class.
Oh, we got to Santa Claus now.
Yeah, in some European countries, Saint Nicholas brings gifts to children on his feast day. December the 6th, the character of Santa Claus in North America was influenced by the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas. It was the night before Christmas. So that's how the Santa Claus thing in America came up, and the role of the middle class. Some historians argue that the middle class shifted Christmas from class dynamics to family relationships. They wanted to bring Christmas indoors, focus on children, and diminish class conflict.
Yeah, and you realize up to now you ain't mentioned Christ, right?
Right.
So nothing you read just now is promoting the Messiah to be involved in that. So America basically has made the concept of Santa Claus a god, to the point where you see children kneeling down and praying to Santa Claus. We had a Calypsonian here sing a song one year, and people saying, "Oh, this person should have win the crown," and what the person was singing about Santa Claus, singing about her daughter and things to do with Santa Claus. So he reached down here. Look, the fact that almost all the churches right now, I don't know if your church have one, almost all the churches right now carry a Christmas tree. Almost all.
No, we don't have it.
But let me just read this little part here for you. This is Jeremiah 10. I can just read 5 verses. Hear ye the word which the Lord speak unto you, O house of Israel. This is the Father talking to Jeremiah to speak to his people. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the custom of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with the hammer, that it may not move. That's how familiar it is. They don't use nails now, because now they come with a foot, you just open it up and what's not. But this is the book talking against that. There's nothing in the book that says it's okay to do that. There's nothing in the book promoting that. And there's nothing about that have anything to do with Moses' laws, the prophets, or the Messiah himself. Absolutely nothing. So the question is, why? Why these churches, so to speak, have these Christmas trees in the church now?
That is a very, very good question. Yeah. But I think we can discuss these ideas, these opinions. We can go further into them.
We don't have the time to go into all of them.
Yes. So I believe that in a subsequent program we can delve further into some of these aspects that you're bringing forth. But we want to bring this program to a close. We want to wrap up. So essentially, I want to ask you to give your final comments regarding Christmas and what it is and what it should be and what it where we are headed in terms of the celebrations, and just in a nutshell, just wrap it up so we can can conclude the program.
Well, I don't know if you could go in a nutshell, but let's try. The idea of Christmas is clearly a pagan concept that has found its way into the so-called mainstream Christianity. I would just say that there's nothing we could do to stop this, because if you read the book of Revelation, it talks about a time in where there are some people who died and they were before the throne of God and asking about when there shall be avenged, and Father tell them, cool a little while, your brethren them have to be killed like you before they come up. Now, so they went through this great tribulation in order to make it into the heavenly places. The book of Acts talk about the way into the kingdom of the Most High is through much tribulation. I say all that to say this. Well, I just said that this is what the book teach. there are churches who teach the exact opposite of that and say that the Christian people will not go through any tribulation. They shall be raptured out of the earth and they shall not go through any tribulation. The teaching is totally opposite to what the book teach. But the rapture story is for another area in terms of, I said that to say that so too, that the Christmas story have nothing to do right now with the Messiah. The things that are associated with it have nothing to do with the Messiah. But to celebrate the birth of the Messiah, I have no problem with that. Whether they want to celebrate it the 1st of December, the 30th of December, it really don't matter really to me. Whether it's wrong or right, I can't put no judgment on the matter in terms of dates.
But Christmas being a time to love and give and share, and you don't have a problem with that either.
No. I think that the line to give and share is every single day. Because these are the things that the Messiah teach, that sharing, giving, no matter of fact, he made it clear that these are the things that you'll know who is his, who are his, because the signs them basically, he said that when I was sick, you visited me. When I was hungry, you gave me eats. I was naked, you gave me clothes. Things was happening, me had no shelter. You give me shelter. So the Messiah made it clear that this is the life to live. So if you're picking out a pagan time to demonstrate these things, obviously you're not of the flock. But there's a flock, there's a shepherd for that flock. And the shepherd for that flock is the one who they say is down here like a roaring lion seeking to devour. Because this season is quite festive, and in saying it is really bad, because on one hand you're trying to say you're celebrating the birth of the Messiah, and the next hand you have festival going on. So it's like you're in church today, tomorrow you're in Juve morning, the next day you're in the next festival, then you're in the church the next day, and so on. So it's like, it's terrible. It's just that we can't do nothing about it. It's like you're gonna have the book say that things gonna have to cut short for the elect's sake. And when this reasoning go out, who listen it, some gonna disagree with it, and some gonna agree with it. Now, sometimes people got to ask themselves the question, which side you're on? Because which side you're on and what role you play. Because I believe in the book. I use the book as my guide. This is like my constitution. I think a lot of people should do the same. But when you come to the whole pagan concept and the so-called traditions that we have created that the Messiah himself never sanctioned, we need to question ourselves.
We need. And with that, on that note, we will bring the program to a close. I think we had a very fruitful discussion. Many ideas came forward, facts. You decide for yourself. You have viewed, you have listened, and we hope that you did learn something in today's edition of Rapport with the Men's Council. We want to take the opportunity to wish one and all a very Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous 2025. On behalf of the Men's Council, I'm Dwight Michael Beveridge saying, I'm out of here.